All right, welcome back, Raider Nation. I just wanted to come on and talk about the Raider roster report. We are just hours away from the free agency frenzy that's about to happen. Obviously, just a few hours from now, teams will be able to contact the folks they want to get, and it should be very interesting. The Raiders have put themselves in a great place, have plenty of money, basically to get whoever they want. I mean, they've really shored up the money. They can kind of go out and do what they need to do. And if they run up short, they always have the option to restructure Carr's contract, which may not be the best idea, but all the reports show they can get up to about 18 million for it. So there's definitely plenty of room. The Raiders can be real aggressive in free agency, and I hope that they are. There's certain guys that I definitely want to get. And the first thing I will talk about is the Sam linebacker position that we have with the Raiders. A lot of talk about edge rusher for the Raiders, and a lot of the Jacque talk, Leonard Floyd talk, the Ingram talk, Carlos Dunlop. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that are being talked about, but I think the Raiders' best bet is to get one of the three guys that we're going to talk about tonight because, truthfully, with Gus Bradley's system, the Sam linebacker's position is supposed to be the number one rusher or edge rusher on the team. And that's not the case with those other guys. There's other guys that have been mentioned a lot would be playing the Leo position. The Leo position is right now kind of penciled in for Crosby, and it really comes down to the evaluation of Crosby if he can handle the position or not. But assuming he can, and I think he can, then the Sam position, we do not have a player on our team that has the capability or the ability to be the dominant Sam rusher we need, but also to be able to drop back in coverage. That's why it's a little bit unique. So the very first guy that is in free agency that's the very best at it is Shaq Barrett. And he's able to come off the edge, explosive player. We all know that. Tremendous pass rusher, quarterback hit, sacks, whatever you need. But he also is able to drop back in coverage, and his coverage grades are above average, which is kind of all you want out of the position. But definitely, this would be the player to get. We don't have one on our roster. He's a tremendous pass rusher. He'd be the number one pass rusher on our team and fits exactly what we need. And the Raiders have the money to do it. So we'll see if he signs with Tampa or not. I know a lot of reports show that he wants to go back to Tampa Bay, and we'll see if that's the case. But I think the Raiders, should make up for their mistake with Khalil Mack. Recognize the edge rushing position for what it is, a valuable position, and pay accordingly. And this guy fills the absolute void that's missing on this defense to take it to the next level. Gus Bradley's defense, the Sam it's a 3-4 down position. You're either out in space, rushing from a 9 or further out technique, dropping in coverage in nickel, which is most of the time anyways. You're a true edge rusher where all you do is rush the passer. So perfect candidate for that. The next option then, if we don't work to get him, we want to go a little cheaper, would be Bud Dupree. Definitely an edge rusher for sure. Has put up tremendous sack numbers. A lot of the sacks with Pittsburgh, I don't know how Pittsburgh does it, but a lot of times they are uncontested sacks. But nonetheless, great pass rusher, tremendous athlete. His combine was off the charts. I think people know that. But this guy would be a tremendous get if we can't get Shaq. He'd fill that position for us since we don't have anybody on the team that can do it. He can drop into coverage. He's not the greatest at it, but that's okay. We'll take it. He just has to drop back into zone coverage sometimes. I think this player would be tremendous. Shaq would be best. Bud would be next. And the next one would be Hassan Reddick. Had a career year this year. Finally got put back in the outside linebacker role. Really had a breakout season, 12.5 sacks, except 5 of them came against the Giants. So I'm not sure if we want to estimate what he can actually do. He can drop back into coverage. He can do the stand-up linebacker thing, which we need on the Sam position. He can challenge the tackles outside shoulder with a speed rush, no problem, which is what we need to move the pocket. So I look for one of these three guys to be signed because with the edge position, I know pass rush is huge for the Raiders, but it's got to come from the right spot. If my opinion, if we go out and get a pass rusher that doesn't have the capability to stand up in pass rush or drop back into coverage in pass rush, then we're talking about Max Crosby's position. In which case, we're talking about benching Max or limiting his time on the field. And then even so, we do that. We don't have a Sam linebacker, which is supposed to be our number one pass rusher. So there's only really, in my opinion, three guys on the open market that meet the description. Of course, we could go in the draft and get one, and there is a good one out there. I'll go to the draft at a different time. But I think for the team and for the draft and the rest of the needs we have, I think that if we're able to secure one of these guys, doesn't mean we can't go in the draft and get one. I think Bud Dupree and Reddick, I think we get those guys. Those are probably 1 year guarantee, 2 year deals, 1 year guarantee. So we still could be aggressive in free agency and look upwards in the draft to get them. Obviously, if we get Shaq, he's looking for a 4 year deal. So at that point, we're just looking for a backup in the draft. So it really changes how the draft goes. But the position is critical to the success of the Raiders. It needs to be addressed. We don't have one on the team. And this is ultimately where the pass rush needs to come from. I mean, if you think about it, if we go ahead and sign one of the other guys to play Leo position, pay him 8, 9, 12, 18 million a year, limit Crosby, so what are we going to get out of that position? 10, 12 sacks, and we don't have anybody at the Sam. The only other person we could get at the Sam at this point is re-sign Morrow. Well, he's not a press the edge guy. That's not his role. That's not what he does. He's a true linebacker. He's not a stand-up edge rusher. That really won't work. Really getting one of these guys, we can have Max Crosby at the Leo, and then I said Terrell Basham for the other Leo, backup him to come and play. With those two guys alone, we'll get 15 sacks. And then if we bring in Shaq, Bud, or Hassan, we're probably looking at another 12 to 15 sacks. Those two positions we're getting 30 sacks out of versus spending, upwards of $18 million for one position, getting 10 to 12 sacks, and having absolutely nothing in the other position. So hopefully the Raiders are considering that. I really am. Anyways, I think that's really important. Through the Raiders roster report, we've leading up to free agency, we've spoken about the importance of Leo position, and of course we've spoken about the safety position with Jonathan Abram, and now the Sam position. So the Raiders need to get this right. These are the three spots they absolutely have to nail to have a good free agency. They put themselves in a great spot financially. There's a ton of money they have available. I mean, I've went through, looked at the numbers, probably like everybody else has. But if you go through, I mean, with what they currently have in the roster and what they project to have in the draft and dead money, those types of things, they really could sign Nelson Aguilar. They could sign a quality tackle if they wanted to. They could sign Denzel Good, Kyle Long to play the guard position. They could sign Dalvin Tomlinson. They could sign Terrell Basham. They could sign AJ Bouye, Brian Poole. They could sign John Johnson if they wanted to, and Rashad Jenkins. All of those players could be signed. Or they can mix and match. I mean, I know Brian Poole might be a little bit much because you could use Amik and maybe Arnett at the spot. Maybe you can keep Keeson. As I know, they probably want to bring in Sherman, which is fine. But now Casey Hayward's available as well, so maybe they want to consider that. So there's options there. But what I'm saying is they've got plenty of money. They could spend it a lot on the defensive side if they want to. My guess is they'll probably do a combination. They'll probably sign a few of the guys that I mentioned and probably go out and get a receiver, maybe other than Aguilar. I'm sure Gruden would love to have a true number one receiver, so that could be an option. The line, not worried about it all. There's plenty of options for the line. Totally not a concern, I don't think, versus what we have with our draft capital. I think we can easily address the line. That shouldn't be a problem. I think the other thing that could happen is Mo Hurst. Not sure if Mo Hurst is the true three technique that they're looking for. They obviously signed David Irving and Kendall Vickers. Both those guys are D tackles, but they're also D ends, so they can go out to the five technique, and actually Irving can probably go a little further than that. I don't think that's Hurst's game. I think they're looking for their three technique to be able to go out wider. So look for Hurst to maybe be a cut, or maybe be a trade option, maybe even a draft day trade if they get in the board and the guy that they want's there. Possibly look for him to get moved. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make the team. If he does, it's great. I think he's a good player, but I'm not sure he fits the overall scheme of the team. But hopefully, the Raiders are smart about this free agency, and they attack the positions that they need. They've completely analyzed and figured out the Leo position with Crosby and whatnot. They fully understand how they're going to use Abram. Is he a free safety or a strong safety? What role that's going to look like? Because that'll be key to this free agency and to the draft. And to get the Sam position right, I really do believe they should get their pass rush from the Sam position, primarily because it's supposed to be, based on Gus Bradley's defense, the number one position for the edge rusher, but also we don't have one on our team right now at all. So that would be key. Anyways, so that's all I have for the Raider roster report for tonight. Like I said, we're hours away from the tampering period of free agency to start. Hope you all enjoyed this. Hit the like button and subscribe. And we'll be back with another video soon. Thank you.